Let's take a look at the final version of the MoYu AoChuang WR M. Okay, so actually I tried the AoChuang WR M when I was visiting the MoYu factory back in October, and since then, I guess they've been doing a lot of development to kind of refine the cube. So I don't know exactly what has changed between the sample and this version I have here. Let's just go ahead and dive in and see how it feels. I really like that MoYu is switching to these more compact boxes. They're sleek as usual. We have these MoYu accessories, nothing really new here. Have some extra magnets, a screwdriver, identification cards, and an instruction guide that probably nobody will use. Let's put all that to the side. Dive into the cube itself. MoYu definitely has made a statement that they are switching towards these slightly darker kind of half bright shades, which I wasn't really too receptive of at first. I kind of prefer the brighter blues, but I have to tell you that they do contrast really nicely, and I think it's a great look. I know that lots of other people share that same opinion, so I think it was definitely a good move on MoYu's part. The turning feels very similar to what I remember with the AoChuang WR M. It has a good turning speed, and it's very, I don't want to use the word rigid, but I'm going to for lack of a better word. It feels very rigid. It feels very stable and confidence inspiring. This is a 5x5 that as I'm turning it, I have no doubts or fears of it falling apart on me or me really like overshooting it. The turning speed is very reasonable. It's very controllable, easy to turn. It's not like you're fighting the cube to turn it, because with some cubes that are a bit more on the controllable side, it takes a lot of effort to, you know, kind of make those turns and all of that. But with this AoChuang WR M, I don't feel that way. The magnet strength is a big concern for a lot of people on MoYu's bigger cubes. I think that they've done a good job of getting a very similar, if not equal, magnetic field between the inner and the outer layers, which I'm really happy about. I'm not a huge fan of big cubes that have a drastic change in magnet strength between the inner and the outer layers. So that is a good job done on that MoYu. The strength itself is still what I would consider to be moderate. It's not like a crazy snap, but it definitely is on the heavier side of the moderate spectrum. So it's not like it's incredibly light, but it's definitely a little bit more noticeable than some moderate magnets in other cubes. Just turning the AoChuang WR M, I find it to be really easy. My turning accuracy has decreased over the years as I've been spoiled by these magnetic cubes with all these better designs, but it's really enjoyable and easy to use. As I mentioned, it's very stable, which I like a lot. The turning itself, it sounds swishy, but it doesn't feel dry. So it's kind of a just neutral feel. I don't really have that much to comment on it. It sounds swishy, but it doesn't feel dry. It doesn't feel overly lubed out of the factory. It just is kind of neutral. It's not dry. It's not soaked in factory lube. It just is kind of its own feel, which I think is good, and I think it's appropriate given that this is a 5x5. There aren't really any key features of the AoChuang WR M that I'm aware of. I know it just mainly was an improvement over the AoChuang, and that MoYu is always striving to improve on their designs. One thing that I noticed, let's see. Yeah, I was gonna say that their center cap is it's not able to be removed, just like previous 5x5s. So you can't just pop out the center cap. You have to kind of disassemble the cube to get to do the tensions, which is a bit of a hassle, but the positive trade-off for that is that you don't have to worry about them coming off, and I think it does contribute towards this stable design, but I don't know that to be for sure. Corner cutting is something that everybody talks about. While most cubes do it well, the AoChuang does an exceptional job of corner cutting. I'm going well into halfway of the second piece, and it's corner cutting with no issues. It looks like that halfway into the second layer is about where the AoChuang maxes out for corner cutting. Reverse corner cutting is, I would say, about a little bit past halfway on the first layer. So corner cutting really is very flexible, and what I like is that when the AoChuang does a drastic corner cut or a big corner cut, it doesn't really fall apart and lose its shape. So what I mean by that is some cubes, if you start going for that aggressive corner cut, you'll see it start to really change shapes, pieces are going to be moving around, and it kind of gets a little flimsy and spread apart. The AoChuang, which speaks to its stability and that rigidness that I mentioned, is it just kind of stays together and does it effortlessly. But what's interesting is it's like an on-off switch. Once you pass that threshold of the maximum corner cutting, it just won't let you do it. It doesn't like really give you much fuss. It's just like, nope, I'm not gonna allow you to corner cut, back it off a little bit, and then you'll be good to go. So that can be something that I could see being disruptive towards some people's solves, but I kind of like it, that it will force you to be more accurate while still having quite a large threshold to be inaccurate. So if you're having to go past a layer and a half to corner cut, I think that you need to reevaluate your turning style, especially if you have magnets, which you do in this puzzle. Again, just turning the AoChuang WR M, it's a pleasure. I'm trying to be a bit rough on it, and it's being very compliant. So it really isn't putting up much of a fight, which is nice. I also like that the layer speed is very consistent. So if I have to really say one thing about the AoChuang WR M as kind of my overall summary, it would be that it's very symmetrical. The magnet strength is symmetrical between the inner and the outer layers, and the turning speed is symmetrical between the inner and the outer layers. I really like that. I don't like having a big differentiation between my inner and my outer layers. And that is the MoYu AoChuang WR M. I'm very happy with the refinement that MoYu put into the final version of the AoChuang WR M. I think it's going to be a great option for those who are looking for a higher end 5x5. In my opinion, this will likely be the most popular 5x5 on the market for the foreseeable future. So we'll see what the future holds for the 5x5 mechanisms. Any questions, let us know, and see you in the next video.